I'm working from the New Perspectives Access 2007 textbook. I'm in Tutorial 1. I'm on page 23 and I'm creating a simple query. In the prior sections of this chapter, we created a database. We needed to create a database in order to be able to hold the objects. We created a table. Now a table holds data. A query allows us to change that data into information. We change that data into information by asking questions about the data. The very simple query that we're going to create in this next step is not really going to ask a very specific question. It's just going to eliminate some portions of the data. Now over on page AC24, to start the simple query wizard, we're going to click on the Create tab. And try there again. Okay. Now, if you notice in figure 1-21, the table is open. The table doesn't need to be open to create this query, but as we'll talk about when we're dealing with the auto form and the auto report, there may be a reason that you have the table open. Normally, what you want to keep in mind is that close objects in Access behind you. That doesn't mean close the database. It just means if you have a table open and you're going to create a form based on that table, close the table first. There's going to be situations where if the table's open and you're trying to work on a form, you're going to get an error message. So keep things, you can close things behind you, not the database, just the other objects. So from the Create tab, I'm going to click on Query Wizard. And when the new query dialog box opens, I have some options here. I can do a simple query. I can do a cross-tab query. We'll get into that in Tutorial 5. Also find duplicates and find unmatched. These last two queries, find duplicates and find unmatched, you're going to get into those in Tutorial 5 as well. They are very handy, the find duplicates, when you're trying to find duplicate records within a table because you're unable to set the primary key because duplicate values in a primary key. And find unmatched comes in very handy when you're trying to set relationships between two tables and you're getting a message back that says that you have a record on the many side of the relationship that doesn't have a matching record on the one side of the relationship. But we'll get into those in more detail in Tutorial 5. Selecting the Simple Query Wizard, I'm going to select OK. In the next dialog box, I actually have a chance that if I've selected the incorrect object, I can change that object. I only have one object in my table or in my database right now, and I've selected the proper one, which is contract. Now the available fields, to bring those fields over, I'm asked to bring over contract num, contract amount, and contract type. And I have many options for bringing those over. As the book shows, I can select the field, use the greater than arrow and move it over. Select the next field, select the greater than arrow and move it over. That works just fine. It's also a little slow. Now I'm going to put all these fields that I've selected back by clicking the two arrows down at the bottom. I can double click the fields that I want over. Now if I want a few fields, that's the easiest way to do it. If I want many fields, I can take them all over and put back the ones that I don't want. So you have many options for doing this. What you need to keep in mind when you move them over is what order do you want them in. If you're going to change the order drastically, it's better to take them one at a time. If you're going to move them all over in the same order, you can move them all over at once. I'm going to double click them over. I'm going to take contract num, contract amount. Oops, wrong one. I just put that back. Contract amount and contract type. And I'm going to click Next. And this next screen asks me, do I want to see the detail or summary for the query? In most cases, you're going to want to do detail. With the summary, that's going to show every record. What summary is going to do for is it's going to create an aggregate, and we'll get into that in Tutorial 3. So I'll leave detail selected. I'll click Next. And what do I want to name my query? Over on page 25, I see that the name of the query that I'm going to create here is contract list. So I'll just click in back of query here, and I can backspace it out, or I can double click it and select it and type over it. And I will click finish to create my query. And as you can see here, I failed to bring in the rest of my records, which is not a problem, but this time I'll go back and get those. Because once I bring those records in, they will show up in the query. So I'm going to pause this tutorial. I'm going to go bring those records in, and then I'm going to reopen this query, and when I reopen it, you're going to see that all those records that I added to the table are now present in the query. Okay, I have gone in and I've copied the records into my contract table. You can see they are now present, 65 records. I'm going to close the table, and I'm going to reopen my query. Now, last time we looked in there were 10 records. Now I have 65 records in my table. So how many records do you think I'll have in my query? I've not rebuilt the query, I'm just going to reopen it. 65 records. See, the data in your database is stored in only one place. It's stored in the tables. The queries act on those tables. So the query is just going out and pulling the data from the table in the order that we show it, or the order that we've indicated, and is showing it to us. The query is not saved as a bit of separate data. It's saved as code, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go to the Home tab, I'm going to click on the View icon, and I'm going to click on the SQL view. This is what's actually stored in my database. This is SQL, and it's telling Access to select these fields, contract num, contract amount, contract type, from the contract table and simply show them to us. I'm going to go back to View, and we're going to take a quick look at how we move around this data sheet, this record set. I can go fast forward or slow forward to go one at a time, fast forward to go to the end, slow back to go back one at a time, fast back to go back to the beginning. If I hold down my Control key and press my End key, End, E-N-D, it'll take me to the last field in the last record. Holding down my Control key and pressing my Home key will take me to the first field in the first record. If I'm within a field, like I'm currently within the contract type field in the first record, and I press Home, it's going to take me to the beginning of that field. I press End, it'll take me to the end of that field. I'm going to click back in it. Control Home will only take me to the beginning of that field, and Control End will only take me to the end of it. So if I want to move records, I need to actually get out of editing mode. So I can just press my Tab key, takes me out of the edit mode. Now Control End will take me all the way to the end, and Control Home will take me all the way back to the beginning. And that is the end of this segment.